Yeah, I think it's rolling. Hi everybody and welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia and in this week's lesson we are going to talk about how to talk naturally about your hobbies. So I know this is a topic most people know how to talk about, at least a little bit, but today I want to focus on how to do this a little more naturally, a little more fluently, give some more information about yourself and be able to ask better questions about other people's hobbies. So I hope that everybody can find something in today's lesson. All right, I think it's rolling on YouTube and Facebook. I think so. Okay. While we wait for people to join us live, a couple of super quick announcements. As always, let me get rid of this. If you want to study with our materials, you can get some of them for free. Check the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, and you can find a bunch of downloadable PDF practice sheets. This one is on romance and asking people out and giving people compliments, that kind of thing. There's also this one about shopping. So depending on your hobby or your interest today, you can check out all of these from the link below the video. I will show you how to get these here. If you click the link below the video, you will find this page. So some of you ask where to get these, how to download these. So scroll down on this page. This is the part where you can choose which one you want and follow these 1, 2, 3, 4 steps right here. You need your name and an email address, and then you can download all of these if you want. So check that out if you want to get some vocabulary practice, okay? That's announcement number 1. Announcement number 2, as always, if you have questions for me, if you want to ask me something about vocabulary, about grammar, about culture, whatever it might be, please send me your questions for the Ask Alicia, this series, the question and answer series. I will 100% read your question if you send it to me. I will definitely read it. I will maybe choose it. I will maybe choose to answer your question. So, of course, we have received many questions over the years, but I always want to see more questions from many different people. So please send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. There's a link in the YouTube description also to do that. All right, cool. Oh, also, if you want to follow me on social media, this is the social media account. You can find the link for this for Instagram or Twitter in the YouTube description. Okay, I think that's everything, and everybody is here now. Hello, Facebook, Mon and Michael Sims. Hello, and Sith. Hello, and Jao from Brazil. Hi. And YouTube, you're here? Yeah? Okay. Hello, Rose Angeli. Hello, Abebe. Hello, from Ethiopia. Hi. Kanwajit. Hey, Joseph. Hi. Kwasyu. Hello, everybody. Okay, everything is good. Today's topic is how to talk about your hobbies more naturally. How to talk naturally. So, I'm going to show you the lesson information now, the lesson flow. I'm going to share the video. If you have not, please make sure to like and share the video too. It helps other people find today's lesson. Okay, so I've shared it. I will now go to the lesson boards for today. If you want to take a screenshot, get ready. So this is what we are going to talk about today. First, we are going to talk about how to ask questions. So how do we make this more conversational? How do we ask better questions in our conversations to make them more exciting? Second, we are going to talk about the difference between to verb and verb-ing. So gerund versus infinitive when you explain your hobbies. Third, we're going to talk about expressing frequency. So how often do you do your hobbies? How often do you do those things? Okay, so the goal is to kind of level up this conversation topic for you. Okay, let's get started. Let's begin with this asking questions topic. Asking questions. So When we start a conversation or when we are in a conversation and someone shares about their hobbies or we want to talk about their hobbies, how do we do that naturally? Oh, Taya Abeb, hello. Thanks very much on YouTube for the support. Okay, so how do we ask this more naturally, or how do we level this up? This question is very common among learners. Lots of learners say this question: what's your hobby? What's your hobby? Now, this question, it's not bad. It's not wrong, you know, but it is a bit unnatural. I know lots of learners learn this. It's effective communication. But we don't really say, what's your hobby, so often in everyday speech. Instead, we say something like this: what do you like to do in your free time? What do you like to do in your time? At native speed, this sounds like, what do you like to do in your free time? It's really fast, yeah? What do you like to do in your free time? This is much more natural and sounds much more fluent than what's your hobby? So please, I recommend, level up this one. What do you like to do in your free time? Okay? Then, this question is another one I hear a lot of learners use. This do you like activity pattern. Do you like cooking? Do you like hiking? And sometimes I hear learners just say a list of do you like questions. Like, do you like cooking? Do you like this? Do you like that? Do you like this? Oh, cool. Do you like that? So try to make that conversation bigger. How do you do this? For example, with a follow-up statement. So this is a plus. So, do you like cooking? Plus a follow-up statement. Or do you like this activity? Plus a follow-up statement. What's a follow-up statement? That means you give some information about you. So, for example, do you like going to museums? Okay, here's my activity question. Do you like this activity? Do you like going to museums? I visit a local museum about once a month. So, do you like this activity? This is what I do. So we try to find a connection with the other person, yeah? We don't just ask questions, and try to create a friendship that way, right? We need to make a connection. So, share about yourself. Do you like this activity? I do this activity sometimes. How about you? That's the idea with the conversation. So try these kinds of follow-up questions. Okay? So you can send a few examples in the chat. I will try to check it out. Okay? All right. So another one I want to talk about is this one. When you talk about this activity, like movies or music or something like that, to ask a specific question about the other person's likes and dislikes, you can use this. What kind of category are you into? This are you into is a casual way to say, do you like? For example, what kind of movies, plural, what kind of movies are you into? What kind of food do you like? What kind of music are you into? So ask these specific questions, again, to learn more about the other person. So you need to equally participate in the conversation, okay? So, what kind of thing do you like? So again, these are questions for you. So not just answering questions. Please remember to practice making questions in your language studies also. Like, it's two people's job to have a conversation. So please make sure you practice your questions also. Okay. Osushi says, so when you ask something, you should talk about yourself to make the conversation bigger. Yes, so depending on your culture, this might feel a little bit unnatural, right? To say something about yourself. So you don't have to tell your life story, but just a tiny comment to show you can relate to the other person. You can try to make a connection that way. You don't have to talk about like everything you know about that topic. That's not a good conversation skill. You will meet people that talk too much about their own lives. Try to find a little comment, something small that you can connect with the other person about. Okay? All right. Let's take a quick break and then we'll go to part 2. So if you missed it, there is free stuff for you from the link below the video. If you are watching on YouTube, above the video. If you're watching on Facebook, you can find free PDF, vocabulary and phrase practice sheets. This one I show a lot. This one has lots of business meeting phrases and job title phrases too. So check this out. And of course, this says family and relatives, I know, but on the back is an introduction phrases section. So you can take a look, you can download all of them. So check these out from the link below the video or above the video on YouTube or Facebook. Okay. All right, so let's go to part 2. Also, if you haven't, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video so other people can find the lesson. Okie dokie, part 2. Part 2, we are going to answer the very common infinitive or gerund question. So many of you ask me this question. Let's talk about it again. So, the question I get a lot is, should I use to verb or verb-ing? For example, which is correct? I like to hike or I like hiking? What should I do? So, the answer, the short answer, is both are okay in this case. Let's look at some examples and then let's talk about why. Okay, so I like to hike, 100% correct, great. And I like hiking, also okay. Another example, I like to take pictures and I like taking pictures. Again, 100% correct, no problem. I love to cook. Great. Okay. I love cooking. Good. Okay. Also fine with the verb love. One more example. Then let's talk about why. She hates to sing. She hates to sing. And she hates singing. So all of these examples are 100% correct. They're fine. There's not a difference in meaning here. Let's talk about why. So a lot of people ask about this gerund. This is called the gerund form when we have the base verb with ing used as a noun. That's called a gerund. This kind right here, where we see to plus the base form of the verb, this is called the infinitive form. So lots of people say, gerund, infinitive, what should I use? Using, here in this grammar note, let's talk about this grammar note, and you can send your examples in the chat too. I'll try to check live. This one, using to verb, the infinitive form, or verb-ing, the gerund, depends on the main verb in the sentence. It depends on the main verb in the sentence. So what does main verb mean? In these examples, we have I like, I love, she hates, and so on. These verbs, like, love, and hate, in these example sentences, they are the main verb, yeah? Those are the verbs we are focusing on, right? So, I'm expressing something I like, something I hate. So, we choose this form or this form, the gerund or the infinitive, depending on this verb that is used. Okay, so how do I know which one to use? For these verbs I have here, when you're talking about your hobbies, like, love, hate, and the negative form too, don't like, for these verbs, we can use either to verb or verb-ing. We can use either infinitive or the gerund form with these verbs. So, for those of you who say, well, how do I know in other situations? In other situations, this may not be the rule because depending on the verb, this part changes. So some verbs are only infinitive or some verbs are only gerund, and unfortunately there's not an easy rule we can use for all verbs, unfortunately. It's just a weird part of English. But for you who are talking about hobbies, you don't have to worry. You can use either form here. Both are totally fine. Okay, so I'm going to look at your questions now. Remember, with these verbs, you can use either gerund or infinitive, okay? Nahora says, I hate waking up early on Sundays. Perfect, very nice. Sari Vidyanti, I like listening music. Make sure I like listening to music. I like listening to music. And your second one, I like to listen to music. Perfect, perfect, good, okay? Kanwaljit says, I love reading nonfiction books, okay? Other ones, yeah, some people are saying, I like listen to the music, HHL. Please note, I like to, I like to, I love to, she hates to. Don't forget that to in the infinitive form. You must have to, okay? On Facebook, Cesar says, I hate eating fried chicken. Really? Is it true? Okay, great. Nice sentence. Someone, oh, I can't read your name. It's in Arabic. I like being a good person. All right, great. That's great. That's great. Ayman Ghanem says, I love to play piano. Great. Very nice. Okay. Travel Man says, I like to travel. Okay. Great. Travel Man. Okay. I also like to travel. Muhammad says, I like you. Is that right? Yes, but that's not a hobby. Yeah? So the sentence is grammatically correct, but we want to focus on these patterns right now. Okay. Good. Saddam Hussein Ansari says, I like to ride bike. Make sure to use plural. I like to ride bikes. I like to ride bikes, or I like riding bikes. I like riding bikes. Okay? Ferreira says, I like watching Formula One. Good. Raman Pandi says, I don't like sleeping. Really? I love sleeping. Okay. Abdullah says, I like hanging out with friends. Great. Okay. Lots of good examples. Andrea says, I like to play violin, or I like playing violin. Vishal and Mohammed say, I like to play cricket. Very nice. Okay. On Facebook over here, John Bermeo says, I like cooking. Good. Okay. Yu Myoza says, I love learning from online. I love learning online. Online. I love learning online. No from there, then it's perfect. Okay? All right. Phew. Someone writes, I don't hate you. Yay. Okay. But again, not a hobby. Not a hobby. Okay? Good. So, very nice example. So, I hope this part helps you understand you can use either gerund or infinitive in these patterns when you're talking about your hobbies. Yay, now you don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's take one more super short break, and then we'll go to part 3 where we talk about frequency. So, very quickly, if you missed it earlier, I talked again about the free stuff you can find from the link below the video or above the video. They are PDF vocabulary and phrase practice sheets. Depending on your hobby, you can choose the one you're interested in. I showed you this earlier, but if you want to download these, there is a 1, 2, 3, 4 step process. You just need your name and an email address to get these. So check it out. All of these and more are here. There are a bunch. There's so many here. You can download all of these. So please check the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. Okay, let's go to the last part for today's lesson. The last part for today's lesson is about frequency, adverbs of frequency. We love adverbs of frequency, right? So, what is an adverb of frequency? An adverb of frequency is a word like always, sometimes, or never. They tell us how often we do something. So, let's talk about how you can use adverbs of frequency to share more about yourself and to ask questions about the other people. Yeah? So, how often do we do something? If you've seen my lessons about this topic, maybe you recognize this. Let's imagine we are on a scale. We have a line here. Down here, this is 0. So never is at 0. Over here is 100. 100. Always. So imagine this is how often you do something. I never do this. I always do this. Maybe you've studied this before. Like, I always brush my teeth in the morning, or I always take a shower in the morning. So things we always do. So, how do we do this more naturally? How do we use these frequency expressions to sound more fluent? First, let's talk about some more leveled up frequency expressions. First, maybe you've learned this expression before. Every once in a while. Every once in a while. This is like about the 50% mark on the scale. It's about the same as sometimes. Sometimes. But we use this one, at least American English speakers use this one a lot in speech instead of sometimes. For example, I go to the movies every once in a while. I go to the movies every once in a while. We could say, I go to the movies sometimes, but this sounds more natural, more fluent. I go to the movies every once in a while. Oh, Ashe on YouTube, thanks very much for the support. That's awesome. Okay, so at native speed, this sounds very fast. This part in particular, this part especially, it sounds very fast because we know it's a set phrase. So at native speed, this sentence sounds like, I go to the movies every once in a while. I go to the movies every once in a while. Okay, so next one is this one. When I have the energy. When I have the energy. So this one is down here. So maybe 25 or so on the scale. So not a lot, not never, but sometimes when I have the energy. What does this mean? When I have the energy means when my body has energy. When I want to do something, I have the energy, I have the motivation to do something. So for example, I go jogging when I have the energy. I go jogging when I have the energy. At native speed, this sentence sounds like, I go jogging when I have the energy. So again, these are very fast, right? Okay, one more. Let's talk about this one, every week. So I have this every week here, but of course, you can change week to day or month or whatever. The point is this every week, every day, every month part shows you do something regularly. Yeah, you have like a regular schedule, something you do each week or each month. For example, we make time to take pictures every week. We make time to take pictures every week. So you and someone else, your maybe partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, friend, whatever, you make time to take pictures every week. Okay? The next one here is when I can. When I can. So this is the same level as when I have the energy. When I can. So that means when it's possible. Or another way to say this is when I have time. When I have time, or when I can. For example, when I can, I try to go to the gym. When I can, I try to go to the gym. Okay? Then the last two I want to talk about are these down here. Oops, I accidentally erased one of them. I must have touched it with my hand. They are expressions with almost. Almost, never, and almost always. Almost never and almost always. On this scale, I have it here. Almost never and almost always. So, let's talk about almost never first. I said never is at 0 on the scale, right? Never. Something I never do is something I do 0% of the time. For example, I never eat steak for breakfast. I don't think. Okay? I never eat steak for breakfast. So what does almost, how does almost change it? Almost never means very, very close to never. Super close, but not never. So for example, I almost never cook for myself. So maybe 1% of the time or 2% of the time I cook for myself. But it's very, very rare. Very, very strange. Or I almost never eat steak for breakfast. It means maybe once every 3 years. I don't know. So it's very, very rare to do that. Almost never. You can send some examples in the chat. I will check them. I'm looking for your examples, okay? Oh, Cesar says, I go to the art museum every year. Very nice. And Libra, we celebrate a party. We have a party. Yeah? We have a party with my colleagues. Check the spelling of colleagues, yeah? Colleagues every week. Okay. Let's continue. Nohora says, I never cook on Sundays. Good. Gonzalo says, can it be hardly ever instead of almost never? Grammatically, for grammar, if you say hardly ever, it is correct. However, that changes the frequency level. So, almost never, down here, is like 1 or 2 on the scale. Hardly ever is like here, maybe 8 or 10. So yes, for grammar, in terms of grammar, that's correct, hardly ever. However, it changes the frequency. I almost never skip my classes. Very nice. Okay. Nuria says, I wear makeup every once in a while. Very nice. Okay. Ayman says, I always woke up late. Careful. I always wake up. So I don't have this grammar point here, but no change to the verb. We use the same present tense. So he wakes up late, or I wake up late. Don't use past tense there. Okay. Oh my gosh, time. Okay, let's go to the last one with always. So we talked about how almost never means like 1 or 2% of the time. The opposite. Let's talk about almost always. So always means 100% of the time, like every day. I always brush my teeth when I wake up. Almost always then means very, 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 very close to always. So like 99% of the time, or 98% of the time. For example, I almost always exercise on the weekend. I almost always exercise on the weekend. So that means maybe 99% of weekends or 98% of weekends I exercise. I almost always do this. So, how does this help us to talk about our hobbies? When we want to make a connection with another person, it's often a really good and helpful thing to do to talk about how often you do something. For example, if you say, I like going to museums, the other person might say, well, how often do you go? Maybe we can go together. If you say, I go once a year, and the other person says, oh, really? I try to visit a museum once a week. It's like, oh, maybe there's a mismatch there. This person likes them a lot. You're like, oh, they're okay. So these are good ways to check like the level of interest with the other person, asking how often you do that hobby, how often you like to do them. Okay? What is the meaning of almost? So almost means very, very close to, but not exactly. So very, very close to never, very, very near to never, but not exactly. Okay? All right. Phew, that was a lot. Some people are sending examples now. Ex-boy says, I almost always do my homework. Very nice. Someone said, who was that? Siobhan says, I almost always go to the gym. Very nice. I almost always go to the gym, like when? So I almost always go to the gym at night or in the afternoon. Yeah? All right. Everyone's saying, what is the noise in the background? I think it's my computer fan. Maybe it's noisy today. I don't know. Okay. I have to finish. I am late. All right, so we'll end there for today. Thanks for your awesome questions and example sentences. That's super, super cool. I'll show you today's lesson board so you can take a picture. We talked about how to ask questions, how to ask natural questions about someone's hobbies. We talked about the difference between gerund and infinitives here, and we talked about frequency, adverbs of frequency, and how to make sure you keep the conversation going, keep the other person interested in the conversation by sharing a little bit about yourself. Okay, so we'll finish there for today, but I'll be back next week. I will, of course, be here again. Next week's lesson, that will be July 14th, Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. So if you don't know your local time, please Google it, or you can set a notification on YouTube or on Facebook, or if you follow me on Instagram, I always share a link and a topic reminder in my stories. So check that out. You can find the links for my Instagram and Twitter in the YouTube description. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to talk about your current work and studies. Current means now. So what are you doing now, at work or at school? We're going to practice talking about this next week. So please join me. All right? I will say goodbye now for today. So thanks as always for joining me. Thank you so much for liking and sharing the video. We had lots of people joining us today. Make sure to find the free stuff from the link below or above the video to get all of that. And of course, come follow me on social media for further updates as well. I will say goodbye. So enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you again next week.